Hello and welcome to this session of Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. My name is Sandra Umutuzo and I'm excited to be having a discussion about tech and tech careers with Dr. Lopes, Directorate Scientist at Planetary Science. Talking Tech is a series celebrating girls and women in tech being recorded around the world between Girls in ICT Day 2020 and Girls in ICT Day 2022. Girls in ICT Day is an international day marked on the fourth Thursday of each April. In 2021, Girls in ICT Day is on the 22nd of April. The objectives of Girls in ICT Day are to help to create a global environment that empowers and encourages girls and young women to consider studies and careers in the growing field of information and communication technologies. The Talking Tech series is brought to you by the ITU, UniICC, and the Office of the UN Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, and is in support of Equals, the global partnership of gender equality in the digital age. The goals of the series include to interest and inspire girls and young women with information about a range of ICT careers that can be had, bring before a broader audience some of the role model women in tech and share information about their career journeys and work. Offer diverse examples of how ICT is being used to support achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and other UN goals. Showcase initiatives that are working with girls to support them in ICT studies or future ICT careers. Provide girls and young women in tech with a leadership opportunity to represent and promote a Girls in Tech organization with which they're involved and promote it to a broader international audience. To kick this session off, I'm a student at Concordia University in Quebec, majoring in electrical engineering. And as you can see, a more gender-balanced tech sector is something that I'm passionate about and working towards. So I'm delighted to now shift to a conversation with the Chief Scientist of the Planetary Science Directorate and a Senior Research Scientist at JPL, California Institute of Technology. She has been with JPL for 3 decades now. She has been a member of different projects and has written 130 peer-reviewed scientific publications and 8 books. Dr. Lopes won different awards in the past, including the Ambassador Award at the AGU, 2 NASA Exceptional Service Medals, the Women in Space Science Award from the Adler Planetarium, and many, many more awards. Welcome to the session, Dr. Lopes.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be talking with you.
Yes, same here. To start off the session, I will ask you some questions. I'll start asking you when and how did you get into technology?
I was always interested in science, particularly astronomy and space, because I grew up with the Apollo program. And I would read about the Apollo program and the astronauts in the newspaper. I grew up in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro. And I really wanted to be an astronaut, but at that time there had only been one woman astronaut in Russia, and the only astronauts were they were all Russian and American. So I thought it might be difficult for a Brazilian girl to become an astronaut, and I had terrible eyesight. So I decided to study astronomy and help the space program in another way without going into space myself.
Would you like to tell us briefly your path from then to now?
Yes, I was very good at school because I had this aim to become an astronomer and work for NASA. My dream was to work for NASA. So I worked hard in school. I knew I was going to need math, but I was pretty good across the board. I like a lot of different subjects. And I could speak English thanks to my mother, who put me in English courses since I was a little girl. And I decided that I would have a better chance if I went to study abroad and I was able to go study at University College London. I did my degree in astronomy there. I became very interested in the geology of planets, and I decided to do my PhD in planetary geology and volcanology. My professor was a volcanologist, so I started going to volcanoes, even erupting volcanoes like Mount Etna, and I became totally hooked on that. After my PhD, I had the chance to come to JPL on a NASA postdoctoral program that is open to foreigners. And I came for only 2 years, but luckily they liked me, I liked them, and they offered me a position. And I have been there ever since, working on different projects and different positions.
Perfect. And can you tell us, what do you like best about your job right now?
Oh, I have loved every job I have done at JPL, working on the missions, on the Galileo mission to Jupiter, the Cassini mission to Saturn was very exciting. I also worked on management, managing a group and then a section of planetary science. And now I'm what's called the directorate scientist. So we have a planetary science directorate that looks at the strategy of future mission proposals, what we are going to need in terms of science and technology. So half my time is spent on that job, and the other half I still do my own research. It's very exciting. I love the fact that people at JPL are really, really smart, and they are really dedicated. And they're also very collegial. Everybody, it's very much a teamwork place. So we do a lot of teamwork. You need teamwork to develop instruments, to develop missions. And I really like the teamwork. There are also people from all over the world at JPL. So that is very nice. It's a great place to work.
Have you encountered any challenge along the way? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Oh, you always have challenges along the way. One of my major challenges was when I came from Brazil. I had graduated the equivalent of high school and even done one semester in the university there. But when I came to England, I found that the British students had a somewhat different education system, because in high school, they focused only on 3 subjects. So they were much more advanced in physics and math than I was. So at first it wasn't a foreign language. I could speak English well, but I was not used to going to lectures in English, and I had a lot of catching up to do. And I was away from my family and friends. That first year there was pretty challenging. And then I found my pace improved. I was catching up more. So I did okay in the end, well enough to be accepted into the PhD program. That was a challenge. And as I was finishing my PhD, I got a position which was very nice in the old Royal Observatory in Greenwich, but it was a curator position. So it was more dealing with the educational aspects and the historical aspects. And I liked that, but it wasn't quite what I wanted to do. So I had a very secure job, a very nice job, friends in this new position, but I decided to take a risk and come to the United States as a postdoc for 2 years. I was only guaranteed funding for 2 years. Some people thought I was taking a really big risk, and I was, but it felt right. You really have to go with your gut feeling. And I came and they liked me, I liked them, and they hired me. So the rest is history.
The rest is history, perfect. And what's a lesson that you learned along the way that you'd like to share with us?
I think the most important thing is determination and also perseverance. There are a lot of things that are not easy. They don't come easy. You have difficulties along the way. And the important thing is to keep going. Keep working for what you want, keep working for that dream, and don't give up. And I think the determination and the perseverance is perhaps more important than talent. I have seen people who were very, very, very brilliant at university, for example, but then they didn't quite know what they wanted to do, and they kind of didn't really get so far because they didn't have that determination. And other people who might not have been such good students, but they really stuck with it, and they really worked, and they said, this is what I want to do, and they persevered. So I think that's the most important lesson, is that just keep going, keep working for what you want. And if you don't know what you want, well, it would be a good idea to find out.
Right. Since this series is about girls and women in technology, do you have any career or tech advice specifically for girls or young women in tech?
I recommend to everybody that they follow their dreams, they do what they love. Don't force yourself to do something that you don't really like. And if there is a career that, you go, it's like, well, maybe this is not quite my kind of thing, then change. But the important thing is to really find that career, that job that you like, that subject. If you really like electrical engineering, that's great to just keep doing it. But for example, you might have a friend who started as an electrical engineer student and then thought, well, maybe I don't really like this. Maybe I want to do civil engineering, then they should change. And everyone should really look for that thing that really gets them excited to go to work, and something that not only they can do, but they actually like.
Yeah, that's almost all the questions I had for you. And if you have any questions for me as a young girl, you're welcome to ask.
Yes, I'll ask, do you ever worry about being a female in science and engineering, because we are not still 50%? Has that been a problem, or are you able to just say, well, this is what I want to do, and go ahead?
Yes, I think about it, and it's like you said, it's evident that it's a male dominating field. In the past, I have had a class in my past college who was a physics engineering class, and I was the only female in that class, and even the professor was a man. It was quite challenging to sit in a class for the whole semester and me just being the only girl in that class, but I had to do what I had to do. I did not want to drop the class just because I was the only woman. The class was required, so I had to do what I had to do, and in the end, it was a great experience. It's just a class as another, and when it comes to the work field, I'm very positive that it's going to be male dominating, but I don't think it would stop me from pursuing what I'm passionate about. Yeah.
That's great to hear. Yeah, very often I found myself being the only woman in a meeting. We actually had 4 girls in my class at the university college, and that was a really big number, at the time. Yeah, at first you kind of think this is a little strange, but then you get used to it. And eventually I didn't even notice when I was the only female, for example, in a meeting. Now there are many more women in my field, so that doesn't happen very much. How did you choose electrical engineering?
That's a good question. Studying college, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I knew I loved math and I loved science, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with those subjects. So I was initially enrolled into computer science and later on into computer engineering. And then when I was graduating, I realized I wanted to be an air traffic controller, and I decided to add a few classes to obtain an electrical engineering associate degree. I obtained 2, computer and electrical. And then I wanted to transfer here to Canada to pursue that air traffic control career. And then at my school right now, they have an option of avionics and control system, and it's under the electrical engineering major. This is how I ended up in electrical engineering. Initially, it was to take an option of avionics and control system, and later on be an air traffic controller later in the future.
Oh, well, that's great. That's great to hear that you have this ambition, and is a great one, and to be a great career. And where are you from originally?
I'm from Rwanda.
Right.
Yes.
So we are both immigrants studying abroad. I know it can be hard at times, but I'm sure you'll do well.
Yes, thank you. It is very hard moving from your home country, like you said, and come to a foreign country. There is a language barrier, the environment, everything is different. And then on top of that, you have to stay on top of your studies. You have to study. Basically, it's like you don't have time to kind of think about that you're here, like you have to keep going. But when I meet people like you who have gone through what I'm going through currently and have made it, and they ended up doing what they love, it's what keeps me going. That it might take long, I might hit some bumps here and there, but I will get there eventually.
Yes, we all hit bumps on the road, so don't let those discourage you. Life throws curveballs at us. Just keep going. That's the main thing.
Yes, thank you so much. That wraps up our session today for Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. Thank you so much, Dr. Lopez. I really enjoyed our chat today, and I must say it's such a privilege and I'm inspired. Thank you so much to our viewers for watching.
Thank you to you and to the viewers.